Hello. We're going to talk about key features of quadratic relations. Today's date is Friday, June the 5th. Okay, what is a quadratic relation? A quadratic relation has a graph called a parabola. Okay, so the graph has a name. It's called a parabola. Just like linear relations had graphs called lines, right? So a graph is called a parabola. This is a parabola, okay? The parabola looks like a smile. In this case, it's smiling, right? It's up at the edges, okay? Or it could look like a frown. So a frown would be going in the opposite direction, okay? A quadratic relation has an equation like y equals x squared minus 2x minus 3, which is what we have over here. That's the graph of the equation. The equation includes y that has an exponent equal to 1, okay, like this, right? There's a y with an exponent understood to be 1, and the largest exponent of x is 2. So this x has a 2, this x has a 1, okay? But 2 is greater than 1, so x is an exponent of 2 as the largest exponent of x. Note number 1. There are five key features of a quadratic relation. We will use the graph of y equals x squared minus 2x minus 3, right here, above, to state the 5 key features. The 5 key features are y-intercept. A y-intercept is the y value where the graph crosses the y-axis. Okay, so let's get a highlighter. Let's see if we've got, might have a different highlighter here, just let's see. Okay. So we've got the graph. Okay. The y-axis is right here. Okay, so where do they cross? All right. So they cross right at 1, 2, 3. They cross right at the y value of -3. Okay, that was bad because I did a very bad picture there. Let me see if I've got a different. I'll swap this one. Okay, so let's do this. So there's my y-axis. Okay, so my graph and my y-axis, it goes right through there. Okay, so that's a y-intercept of 3. Okay, so the y-intercept is equal to 3. That's where the blue graph, it's blue on my picture, and the y-axis cross. Okay, so label the y-intercept on the graph we have, and using this graph state the y-intercept. So it's equal to -3. Looks like I didn't put a negative there, so let's do that. Okay, so the y-intercept is -3. X-intercepts. An x-intercept is the value where the graph crosses the x-axis. Okay, so the x-axis, okay, so this is x, right? This is y. Okay, so the x-axis is here. Oops. So where does the pink x-axis cross the blue graph? So here, one of the values here is -1, right? -1. So an x-intercept is equal to -1, right there. Okay? Now the blue graph and the pink x-axis crosses here. Okay, so that's at a value that has 1, 2, so that's a value of 3. So that x-intercept has a value of 3. Okay? Label the x-intercepts on the graph, so we've done that. Using an arrow, okay, gotta get an arrow. Using this graph, state the x-intercepts. So the x-intercepts are equal to -1, okay, -1 and -3, or sorry, +3 and +3. We don't need to write a positive there if we don't want to. Third key feature, axis of symmetry. The axis of symmetry, or AOS, A axis, O of S is symmetry, is the vertical line, so vertical line goes up and down, okay, that cuts the parabola in half. The axis of symmetry, or A for axis, O for of, S for symmetry, is the line in the middle of the x-intercepts, okay? So where is that? Okay, so if I count in from the x-axis, or sorry, the x-intercepts, I count in, I go 1 and 1, 1 and 1. See, that's in the middle, okay? So if I just count the distance from one x-intercept to the right to the next x-intercept, I go 1, 2, 3, 4. So 4 divided by 2 is 2, so that means 2 in from the left from the x-intercept and 2 in from the right of the x-intercept is going to be my middle. So 1, 2, and 1, 2. So that right there is my middle. So my middle, right here. So try to draw it as straight as you can. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Okay, so that middle line, that up-down vertical line, that's called the axis of symmetry, okay? And it's the value that you can read by seeing where it crosses the y-axis. So see how it's a 1 there? So the axis of symmetry is x equals 1. Okay, so you can see that? All right. So we want to label the axis of symmetry, or AOS, on the graph, which we have. Using this graph, state the AOS. So we have to say x equals 1, okay? Because that up-down line cuts the graph in half, and where it does, it goes through that x value of 1. So that's the value of the axis of symmetry. Okay. The y maximum or the y minimum value is the fourth key feature of a quadratic relation. So the y maximum or y max, see how they just shorten it there, is the highest y value when the graph is frowning. So if it's frowning, okay, we've got a frown. That's a maximum, okay, because it's at the top, right? The y minimum or y min, see they just shorten it there, is the lowest y value when the graph is smiling or opening up. So if you're smiling, okay, that's a smile, it's low in the middle. So a y minimum is the low y value. Y maximum is the high y value. Okay, so maximum, highest, minimum, lowest. Okay, so label the y maximum or the y minimum on the graph. Well, what do we have? We are looking at a graph that is smiling, right? There's the ends and they're going up like a smile. So it means that this is the lowest value. We have to find its value by looking at the y-axis. Okay, so what number is that? Well, we can count 1, 2, 3, 4. That's -4. So the y minimum y min is equal to negative 4. Can't really fit that in there very well. I'll see if I can write it again. So y minimum is y equals negative 4. Okay, y minimum. We can even write it right there. Y minimum is y equals negative 4. Okay, so it's a minimum, y minimum, okay, and it's y equals negative 4. Now, the vertex, okay, is the fifth feature. The vertex is the middle point on the parabola. The vertex is the point that uses the axis of symmetry as the x value. So, listen, if the vertex is a point, you need a point x, y, okay? So the vertex is the point that uses the axis of symmetry as the x value, and it uses the y maximum or y minimum as the y value. So label the vertex on the graph. So the vertex is the middle point on the parabola. So to find the middle, we have to look at this middle line. Well, the middle line goes through the middle point, right? So that's also, that point right there is called the vertex, okay? So that's called the vertex. It's the vertex point, okay? So if it has a point, it needs an x value. Well, what is the x value? It's an x value of 1 and a y value of negative 4. Well, we've seen these values before, right? We've seen a y value of negative 4 as the minimum and an x value of 1 as the axis of symmetry, okay? So using this graph, state the vertex. So the vertex is equal to 1, negative 4, where 1 is the x value and y is the negative 4, okay? All right, so let's use this question here. All right. So I had made a mistake with my highlighter in the earlier paper. So we'll just put these all together and make these work. Okay. So you're going to have one paper that looks like completely like this, right? Okay, you can still see it? Good. Okay. So using the guess method, state the 5 key features of the quadratic relation. So these are the things you're going to state, okay? And it's of the quadratic relation that's graphed. So there's our graph. Okay, so G-U-E-S-S. All right, so given. What are we given? We're given a graph of a quadratic relation. Okay? All right, so U, what's the unknown? Well, it says to state the 5 key features. So the unknown is state the 5 key features. Okay, so what are they? Okay, so they are the Y-intercept, number 2, the X-intercepts, number 3, axis of symmetry, we'll shorten it to AOS, okay? Number 4, the Y max or Y min, Y max or Y min. And then number 5 is the vertex. Okay?